Hi, Dave Balzer here. I wanted to talk with you a little bit more today about the bottle, about the Pymex sports bottle, and why I think it's so special and why I think it's so innovative. But before I do that, I wanted to talk to you about the quality that went into the bottle and that is apparent in the bottle. And it really splits into two different quality aspects. There's quality assurance and quality control. Quality assurance is what we put into the bottle in terms of design and testing before it was ever put into production. And I just want to let you know that it took us many, many iterations of a design in order to get it right. We did testing both in-house, we did testing in the field, and we did testing with third-party certified laboratories to make sure that the filter works properly and to make sure that the whole thing runs the way it should. Then we come to quality control. The quality control aspect is after the design is done and we put it into production, the product that makes it to the warehouse is quarantined and it's sampled. And it's sampled mathematically and statistically so that we can pick random samples, test them, not just test them once or twice, but test them completely from beginning to end, both appearance and functionality, to make sure that those samples will give us a statistical representation of what the entire lot or the entire batch looks like. And I want to tell you that we've done that. We've done our homework. We've been diligent in making sure that we didn't cut any corners and that we did things right with the bottle. But we've been getting some feedback from the field that tells us that there are some leakers, and I wanted to go through a familiarization with the bottle so that maybe you can either answer some of these questions for yourself or correct some of them if you find that you have one of these bottles. So let me start with the bottle itself. When it comes out of the box, all you need to do is to check it out is to tighten it up. Make sure that the cap is on snug and give it a squeeze. You shouldn't hear anything. You shouldn't hear any air escaping. If you don't hear air escaping when it's pressured, it's not going to leak water. Water is much more viscous than air, so if it's going to leak, it's going to leak the air. And I'll give you, this one's perfect, of course, and I'll give you an example of, by opening the nozzle just a little bit, you can hear the air escaping. And that's the sort of thing that you'll hear if you have a bottle that has a leak to it. Now let me also say, in shipping, and these things get banged around a lot, some of the parts that are meant to be replaced, some of the parts that are meant to be removed, can move around a little bit. But it's very easy to correct those. One of the ways that it can leak, and one of the things that can happen in shipping is there's a little gasket. There's we call it an O-ring that's underneath the nozzle, that's underneath the spout. And if that gets a little bit out of its holding ring, then you can leak air and you can leak water. But it's real easy to fix. And in fact, every time you change the filter, you're going to take the spout off and get a new spout. So for sanitary reasons, every time you change the filter, you can also change the spout. Now, I think it's pretty easy to pop the spout off, but I've employed the use of one of these disposable chopsticks, and I love Chinese food. And what I want to do is just use this as a little lever to help me pop the spout out. And some people want to do that because they may want to clean this, they may want to soak it in some soapy water and rinse it out. And then in the top, what you'll see is that O-ring. It looks like a little donut. It can be red colored, it can be black, it can be clear, but they all serve the same function, which is to make sure that it seals this nozzle or this spout when it's in place. So what you do is you pop it out, pop this guy out, check the O-ring, make sure that it's seated properly. When I say seated properly, that's S-E-A-T-E-D. Seated properly in place, press it down with your thumb, make sure it's nice and flat in there, and then go ahead and put the spout back in. The easiest way to do that is to go ahead and put one of the hinges in, and then I'm going to use my chopstick again just to pop it back into place. It's as easy as that. Make sure it moves properly. Oh yeah, make sure that you have the lever on the right side, otherwise you won't be able to open and close it. Make sure that it moves this way. And what I've done then is I have put the gasket back in, put the O-ring back in the way it should be. A second way you can get a leaker, and I'll just, when you hear air coming out, and it's not the spout, you can check that. It may be what we call the check valve. It's a small valve that's in the top that lets air come in but no water come out. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to take this off and take off the filter so that you can see what's underneath. And when you go ahead and take a look at what's underneath, you'll see over here at this end, underneath where the open end of the spout is, you can see what looks like a mushroom, a little mushroom made out of clear plastic or clear rubber. That's the check valve. And all you need to do is take a look at it. It should be symmetrical. It should be a nice circle within a circle. It looks almost like an eyeball with an iris in the center. And you just press on it a little bit or flip it a little bit just to make sure that it's, again, seated properly. And that ought to take care of it. If you look at it and it's torn or it's irregular, let us know. We'll send you a replacement. It's very easy to pull out and pop in. You don't need any tools to do it. The last one I want to tell you about is this gasket, the silicone gasket that's around the outside. You can see it's a flat gasket, and it's in its own tray, and it's meant to be completely around the outside and down firmly in place. And what that does is that mates with the top of the bottle, so that when you screw the bottle together, you will get a good seal between the top of the threads of the bottle and the inside of the cap, and you don't have a leaker. If you take off the cap and the filter and you see that that gasket is out of its track, just simply push it back in, make sure it's flat, put it down, tamp it down with your fingers, and you're ready to go. Okay, that's about it. I will tell you in closing that if you try these little tips and you find that your bottle is still leaking, then it's likely that you have a burr or a flaw or extra material at the interface here at the top of the bottle, in which case you'll need to send it back to us and we'll replace it.